अस्सलाम वालेकुम dear students. क्या हाल है आप लोगों का? ठीक है? अच्छा, I have received request from the students के कुछ lectures जो हैं उनके अंदर they need some help. तो से I am going to record some lectures for you people ताकि फिर आप लोगों को जो है थोड़ी सी हेल्प और थोड़ा सा अंदाज़ा जो है वो हो जाए. ठीक है, तो इसमें what we are going to do, first of all, I'm going to start with the transport system in humans, in man. और इसमें जो step wise हम जाएंगे and short lectures में इसमें आप लोगों के लिए जो है वो रिकॉर्ड करूंगी ताकि आप लोगों को पढ़ने में और समझने में it should be easy for you people and there should be no problem. ठीक है, तो blood circulatory system is the chapter that we are going to carry on first. And in the blood circulatory system, what we will be completing in this lecture is the external structure of the pumping organ of man. External structure, this is what we are going to study today. This is the human heart, and we are going to study only the external structure in this lecture. In the next lecture, we will study the internal structure of the right side of the heart. And then we will be going stepwise so that it can be easy for you people to understand the lectures and you should not be overburdened. Each concept jo hai, it will be covered step by step, very briefly and very concisely so that you can get the main thrust. I will try to give you some questions also after each lecture ताकि you people should be well aware के what you have to expect in the MCQs or in the lecture. ठीक है? Okay. So the topic that we are going to study today is the, let me change the screen. Let me first of all go to the board. Let us start on the board first of all, then we'll come to the presentation. I hope the board is clear. Okay. What we will be studying today is we are going to discuss the external structure of the human heart. The external structure, how the human heart appears when we look at it, when it comes in front of us, when the surgeon opens the chest of a patient, what the surgeon sees. That is what we will be discussing today. The blood circulatory system of man, of which this heart is the major organ, is known as the cardiovascular system. The heart is the main organ of the cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system in the human beings is a closed type. A closed cardiovascular system is actually that type of system in which the circulatory fluid or the transport fluid, which is blood, does not come in direct contact with the tissues. This is a closed circulatory system. I will tell you the differences between the closed and the open circulatory systems in some upcoming lectures also. So this is also a very important topic. So the cardiovascular system is the main transport system in man. We have another sideways transport system also, which is the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is actually connected. It is related to the cardiovascular system, but it is only a collecting system. It collects fluid from the body and brings it back to pours it back into the blood vascular system. We will discuss the lymphatic system also. Whereas the cardiovascular system is a two-way traffic. It collects blood and it distributes blood to various parts of the body. The main pumping organ of the cardiovascular system of man is known as the heart. It is known as the heart, and the heart, we can see that the heart of man, its main function is the circulation of blood through the blood vessels. The human heart is actually a hollow structure. hollow structure means कि अंदर से खाली है, ठीक है, because it has space to gather in blood inside it. It is a fibromuscular organ. Fibromuscular organ means that it is made up of protein fibers and it is very highly extensible. Extensible का मतलब ये है कि इसकी एक्सपेंशन भी हो सकती है और ये रिलैक्स भी होके अपनी जगह पर वापस आ जाता है. द ग्रीक नेम ऑफ हार्ट इज कार्डिया एंड वी यूज द एडजेक्टिव कार्डियक फॉर एनी हार्ट रिलेटेड फंक्शन जिसको भी हमने डिस्कस करना है. नाउ वी कम टू द शेप ऑफ द हार्ट. शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, व्हाट इज द शेप ऑफ द ह्यूमन हार्ट, व्हाट इज द शेप ऑफ द एडल्ट हार्ट ऑफ अ ह्यूमन बीइंग. So it is the shape of a cone, shape of a cone, and the blunt rounded point of the cone is the apex, and the larger flat part at the opposite end of the cone is the base. The blunt rounded part is the apex, and the flat part that is at the opposite end of the cone is the base. ठीक है, तो इसमें ये है कि it is conical in shape and it has two ends. One is the base and one is the apex. ठीक है, the blunt rounded point of the cone, the blunt rounded point of the cone जो कि नीचे वाला हिस्सा बनता है, ड्रॉ करके बता देती हूँ, जो कि यहाँ पर हमारे पास, if this is the structure of the heart, ये ठीक है, if this is the structure of the heart, तो इसके अंदर the blunt rounded end of the cone is the apex and the larger flat end, ये the larger flat end at the opposite end of the cone is called the base. Now the shape of the heart, where is the heart present? The heart is actually present in the central part of the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity क्या है? Thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is actually the chest cavity where we have the lungs present, which are protected by the ribs. The heart is also protected by the ribs. It is present between the two lungs in the center, but it is a little bit tilted towards the left. It is not present on the left, but it is tilted towards the left. ठीक है, तो इसलिए आप ये देखें कि जो लेफ्ट लंग है उसका जो साइज है वो राइट लंग से थोड़ा सा कम है, बिकॉज हार्ट जो है वो थोड़ा सा आप ये देखें कि इट इज टिल्टेड टुवर्ड्स द लेफ्ट. ठीक है, नाउ व्हेन वी ऑब्जर्व द हार्ट एक्सटर्नली, हम ये देखते हैं कि द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द हार्ट, वेयर इज द हार्ट प्रेजेंट? Inside the chest cavity. When a surgeon opens up the chest cavity, तो उसको हार्ट कहाँ पर नजर आता है? ठीक है, तो उसको हार्ट जो है वो कहाँ से कहाँ तक नजर आता है? The heart is present between the second intercostals to the fifth intercostals. ठीक है, intercostals क्या चीज है? Intercostals are the muscles that are present between the ribs. उसके हिसाब से यहाँ पर हमने हार्ट की पोजीशन जो है वो देखी है. Where is the heart present? The heart is present. The base of the heart extends to the second intercostal space, and the apex of the heart is present around the fifth intercostal. The size of the heart क्या है? The size of the human heart, ये बहुत important चीजें हैं. The size of the human heart is about 9 centimeters to the left of the midline. ठीक है. Now, externally, the heart is not an exposed organ. It has a protective lining. And this protective lining of the heart is called the pericardium. The pericardium is made up of 2 layers. It is made up of two layers. The inner one is attached to the muscle of the heart, to the cardiac tissue of the heart. It is attached to the muscle of the heart, the inner one. And the outer one, it is inelastic and it is made up of white fibrous tissue. There is a space present between the two layers of the pericardium. And inside this space flows the pericardial fluid. It is secreted between these two layers. And इसका function क्या है? इसका function है friction को reduce करना. So that when the heart is beating and when the heart is moving, तो उसमें ये है कि वो friction को reduce करता है. ठीक है. अब एक question आ सकता है, why is it that the outer layer of the pericardium is inelastic? The inelastic nature of the pericardium, it prevents the heart from being overstretched or overfilled with blood. ठीक हो गई बात? तो अब और भी कुछ देखते हैं कि हमारा जो हार्ट है उसके अंदर आपके पास ग्रूव्स, आपको छोटे छोटे ग्रूव्स नजर आते हैं, which are known as sulci. आपके पास ये जो grooves हैं, ये जो sulci हैं, they are present in the upper part of the heart between the atria, and they are present in the lower part of the heart between the ventricles. Between the upper part of the heart, we have the atria, and the atria, they are present above the ventricles. Externally, let me go back to the presentation now. Let us go to the presentation so that we can see what we have in the presentation, and then I can explain it to you people better. Okay, right. Now, this is the shape of the heart, and it is a little bit tilted towards the left side. These are the sulci. These sulci are actually the grooves that are present between the ventricles. We can see the grooves between the ventricles very clearly, and we have the grooves between the auricle and the ventricle also. These are sulci, and these sulci are covered by a lipid layer. This lipid layer protects the heart from any kind of trauma, and it protects the heart from the any kind of sudden temperature change. It gives the heart some insulation. So we have the interventricular groove or the interventricular sulci. We have the interatrial groove or the interatrial sulci, and then sulci, and then we have the atrioventricular groove or the atrioventricular sulcus. Okay. Now this was about the external structure of the heart. In the next class, we will study about the tissues of the heart. What we have seen today, let us just brush over it clearly, very quickly. The blood circulatory system, human blood circulatory system, consists of three basic components: circulatory fluid, the blood, pumping organ, the heart, blood vessels, arteries, capillaries, and veins. ये हार्ट है, बाहर से कॉनिकल शेप है, एपेक्स है, बेस है, और ये देखें ये हमारे पास क्या है, ये हमारे पास सल्काई है. ठीक है. यहाँ पर देखिए स्ट्रक्चर इन pericardial cavity is present between the pericardium, the wall of the heart. This is what we are going to study in the next lecture. We have just studied about the shape of the heart. We have studied about the pericardium. We have studied about the pericardial cavity, and we have studied about the sulci and the fatty tissue that is protecting the heart. See you people next time, and best of luck for your exams.